Welcome. I am Emoticon Trash. This is my channel, mainly here for starting a series called Mind and Moments, just to talk with people, share their stories if they're comfortable with it. By any means, I'll probably put a disclaimer somewhere. I am not a professionalist. I'm not going to school or anything for it. It's just a self journaling video kind of thing going on that I just want to do, just something I've been passionate about. So anyway, this will be part two of Mind and Moments, and I have a good friend with me today. You want to introduce yourself a little bit?
I am Steve Roger. No, I'm just kidding. My name is Hayden Higginbotham. Known Evan. Gosh, still don't know what year it was that we met at Tri Gulch, but
I have no idea.
eons ago. We're old men now, and we have fought in many wars. And no, I'm just kidding. Uh, but no, me and Evan definitely have had our own battles on each individual side, and then they've merged over in the past and made things muddy, and then we kind of separated for a while, and I also moved to Florida at one point, and then it was funny at that time we weren't even speaking. I don't know if you remember this, and I reached out to you in an email to try to figure out what your number was because we had not been on speaking terms, quote, at that time.
I believe so.
So I reached out to him on like his old school email or something, but yeah. So I've known Evan for a while and glad to be here.
Yeah, definitely past. I would say 6 years. Probably a few more than that.
I think
At least
roughly.
that sounds about right.
8 years
Yeah.
we've known each other
So,
since we met.
um, yeah, mainly for this episode, I'm trying to at least keep it down to. I mean, we can go wherever kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing, but I usually try to keep down on like a topic just to kind of keep things in order. And something that I feel like me and you maybe talked about a few times like over the years, and I just kind of wanted to just have some time to discuss about it. But basically, inner monologue, or what people say, the voice in your head. And mainly, just to kind of start us off, um, so the voice in your head, do you feel like your inner voice is your true self, or more like a critic, coach, or something else in your life kind of thing?
It's an interesting question. I would say it depends on what it's pointing to.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's pointing to something negative, then maybe not my true self per se. But if it's pointing towards a positive, then perhaps. But then that also makes the question of if true self can be both negative and positive, if it's dialoguing back and forth between I have negative thoughts and positive thoughts, or things that are pulling me in a negative way or a positive way, then why is true self negative and positive rather than just what we would like to think as positive all the time?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I would say for me, yeah, I would say at a to kind of like start off too, like even with our brains developing when we were young, I think for me, I guess I don't know. My guess would probably be like during the time of like maybe elementary school, maybe a little bit younger, where it was just like, is this like a voice in my head kind of thing? Like, is this
Mm-hmm.
something that, or like, something in the classroom would, the teacher would be like, okay, we're going to talk about this today in science class. And in that voice in my head, it's like, you know, well, then how come things are like this? Or mainly just asking questions because I've always just had an interesting, you know, desire of learning more, obviously, as a
Mm-hmm.
young kid, but brain's still developing. But then after a while, I guess probably going into beginning of high school years, it was like, um, what's with like the voice in my head, telling me that this is hard, I can't do it, I'm struggling with this, or am I not smart enough? Am I not, as teenager, am I not cool enough? Like, do these people like me? And then after a while, I'm like, now learning, well, not now at this point, but over time, just being more like, okay, one, not all of these are facts. That's something really important that I've learned, even in very stressful times and dark times, going through things. It's like, this is just your brain trying to come up with so many different things in life. That's just what it does. That's the brain. And just like, okay, well, not necessarily these things are true. Obviously, a lot of, I'm sure a lot of us deal with it in many ways, but with intrusive thoughts, and just be like, okay, nope, I need to get that out of my head right now. But like, was there a point for you in your life, maybe like at an early age, where you were discovering about that inner monologue in your head, or like, oh well, how the way you think and
Mm-hmm.
stuff is, was there a certain point in your life?
So when I was really, really young, around 11, um, my inner dialogue then is way different than it was to like is now.
Yeah.
Way different than it is today. Because back then I struggled a lot with suicidal thoughts
Mm-hmm.
and mental health like crisis at that time from like 11 mainly all the way up until like 18 was a big point, but the
Yeah.
main part, the hardest part was 11 to 13.
Mm-hmm.
So I had just struggled so much in the mind, and it gave me a lot of fire and passion in the long run to understand the mind and do the life coaching and all the stuff that I do now. But it it gave me passion for that because I for years would watch motivational video after motivational video and different preachers, people that are doing podcasts like we are right now, all sorts of stuff, and was trying to find clues and um, a pathway out of it was the main thing, because I believed after hearing this from some different people in kind of repetitive language was that success leaves clues. So my version of success, at least at that
Mm.
time, was I want to get out of the mental state that I'm in and get into a different one that's better, healthier, freer, more organized, more beauty in it. Like I wanted to see the beauty in life again. And at that moment in time, especially 11 through 12 and 13, I was not seeing any beauty in life, and everything was just utter chaos in my mind all the time, which made my outside perception utter chaos all the time because everything
Mm-hmm.
in here was all crap. So I was just filtering and feeding in crap all the time.
Yeah.
So it was rough.
That's one thing, yeah, about what interests me about psychology and experience, and yeah, that in your head over time. But that's the thing about it. I think that's the beauty of it, of looking back at it, which I know with people, they say, with some people they say, don't look back, don't look back at the past. But it's like, sometimes you kind of do, because it's a good
Mm-hmm.
thing to look back and be like, you know I've been through these things before,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it may be, whatever the situation. But it's like, this is life, this is the experience, how much I've grown now. And it's always good, I think, to look back at least and be like, man, I'm still struggling with this, I'm still struggling with this financial stuff. I know for me personally, that's kind of a hard thing with sometimes. But looking back at some things, I'm like, I've been through worse. I'm like, why am I complaining now? Why am I, having all these thoughts? And not to say it to myself like a self-doubting way, but just being like, why am I having an attitude about this? Or why am I going through this thing? And I'm like, it's just a season. It's a season. Things pass.
Yep.
I was like on a phone call the other day with a friend, and we were kind of talking about the same thing. And I was like, yeah, I see it as a visual, as, you're going down the road of life and you see the storm coming to you, and people behind you are like, oh, I don't want to deal with that. I'm packing my stuff and I'm out. And you're just like, I gotta keep going straight towards it. There's been 5 or 6 big storms already that I've already passed. There's going to be tornadoes, hurricanes, high winds, just chaos. And it's like, I just gotta keep moving.
Yep.
That kind of like the same thing too with like looking back, and you're like, wow, all that stuff that I just passed, like I did all that.
Yep.
To me, that helps a lot.
Yeah, I think the past can be a really good teacher.
Yes. Yep.
It cannot be always your guiding force of where you're going, because if you're looking in the rearview mirror all the time in a car, you'll crash
Yep.
if you're not looking forward. But there are times where you have to check your rearview mirror in order to see if there's anything urgent coming up. That's a lot of like what people talk about with like trauma. And trauma can be physical, can be mental, can be all the above. Like there's just different things and different perceptions. What is trauma to you might not be trauma to me, but what is trauma to me might not be trauma to you. So there's different things that are based on what we thought of it at that time. You could go through the same experience that I go through, but I think of it in a totally traumatic way, and you're like, oh, it was no big deal. I've been through worse.
Yeah.
And I think people need to be very cautious of, it's hard. It can be the simplest thing. I remember when I was little, I don't know why this is coming to mind, but I had a friend that had a wasp go right by his eye. We were at like a pool, like we are now, and we are swimming and having fun and everything, and he was in the like crying, like full out terror, crying, sad, just ugly crying, because a wasp or a yellow jacket, I think it was, came near his eye, but it didn't even sting him. But he was so like fearful of that in that moment, at least, and we were all like, in a way, judging him, because we were like, it didn't even sting you though, bro.
What's the big
and we're
deal?
kids and whatever,
Yeah.
but because of his fear being active in that moment, it was almost like traumatic for him.
Yeah.
And even though it wasn't a big deal to me, I might have had a wasp later that day sting me, and I would have maybe not even thought about anything like that. But he didn't even have it sting him, but because it came so near to him, it just paralyzed him in that moment.
Man.
So we have to be careful about judging others when something like really, really what we would consider low as a low stressor or like a low traumatic thing on the scale of whatever it is. If it's not that important to you, it might be really important to them, and it might have affected them in a very different way than it affects you. Even though you can't understand it, have enough grace to understand that they see it in a very traumatic way. So anybody that like struggles with anything like that, it's like you got to be kind of oversensitive in a way as the opposite person, to be like, hey, I don't really get this, but I'm also here for you in a way that I don't want you to have to deal with this alone. I don't really get what you're going through, but I can also be on the sidelines cheering you on in a different manner.
Here to listen, support. Yeah.
Here to listen and support, even as simple as like, hey, instead of being judgmental towards them because a yellow jacket flew by their eye, I'm gracious enough to be like, hey, I'm really sorry that was like super bad for you. I apologize for how that went down. Even though it's not my fault, it might still be my responsibility to kind of be that guiding force of, you're gonna be okay. It didn't sting you. Your eyes not popping out of your brain.
Yeah.
Like you're fine. And sometimes people, all they need is that when they get into weird spots like that for whatever reason, whether it seems big or small to you, it just differs for them.
Yeah. I think that's, or just something like popped in my head. Maybe if a younger audience is listening, one thing I was thinking about, even I did in high school, was like when teacher comes by in class, hands out all the graded assignments, and it's like, what did you get? What did you get?
Yep.
And for somebody, maybe in the very front, I don't know why, there always is somebody in the front row who is like the brightest student, A plus. I was always in the back. I got like a C, minus, and to me, and like, not just like, my parents were just like, as long as you just, we're not expecting you to be a straight A student, at least just try your best, learn from it, and if you just make like a C plus, even a C minus, that's totally fine, growing up. But something like that, the inner monologue of negative thoughts and feedback in my head when the teacher would come all the way back to me, it would be an F. And I'm like, my whole day is ruined.
Yeah.
Even if it's the first class of the day, I'm like, the whole day is ruined because I'm thinking about that F. And sometimes I would, tell some people about it, and they were just like, oh, well, I got an A, because like, it's not that, like what you were just saying. They'd be like, oh, I got an A, that wasn't that hard, and I'm like, okay, but that was something I had to learn from, because I was very easily just in that state of, got an F on the first class of the day, and I'm like, my whole day is ruined just because of that, and now I feel terrible,
Yo.
But anything kind of like that in your life, kind of stuff, or
Not that I can think of necessarily, but like what you're really speaking about is comparison
comparison?
to
Yeah,
others. Because
yeah,
when you're comparing your grade that you got compared to somebody else's best grade or their best work, that can make you feel pretty trashy at times, with like how I got an F on this paper that everybody else said was easy and they got A's on. That can make you feel really bad. And not only does it make you feel bad in that moment, sometimes we allow ourselves to feel bad for the whole day or week or month or year on something, anything like that, where it's like, hey, I didn't do as good as I could have, is one thing, but it's another thing when it's like, I didn't do as good as them. When you're comparing to like somebody else, and it's like, whether or not they did good or not should have nothing to do with your level of success most of the time. I feel like there's good things in competitiveness a little bit here and there. I'm not super competitive myself, but I used to be, in a way. Back in the day when we were dancing all the time, I would feel more competitive to be better or best, or to better my best in a way, but it was more judging in a sense of demeaning to other people, thinking I'm better than them, and that wasn't my conscious thought, but somewhere deep down it was like, I got to be better than most of the crowd to be successful in whatever this is.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be just dance or a paper at school. It can be anything.
Yeah.
We get caught in those negative loops, though, where we think that the comparison that we have to others is what will bring out the best in us, and really it's like, compete against yourself. That's the best way I've heard it explained. It's like, you know what you're capable of deep down, but we don't always meet that. It's like, what human beings can do is pretty amazing. What they usually will do is disappointing, oftentimes. And it's not that we're not capable, it's just that we won't find the discipline or do the things we need to do in order to have the results we want to get. And that has nothing to do with anybody else's thoughts, feelings, emotions, or their grade on their paper unless you let it become that. I think the moment you let somebody else's success try to pivot yours, it's when you kind of give power over to them in a way. And they might not even know it, and you might not even know it. It might be a subconscious act, but you're giving power to them, being like, you control and define my success for me because I compare myself to you. So, tricky situation, because if they start really failing, then you really, really start failing because you were below them already anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you do now? Because your identity in a format is wrapped up in what they do for them, not what you do for you. So it's that's a concerning road. And I've done stuff like that in the past where I've been like identity wrapped up in the wrong thing. So it's not fun when that gets reset. It takes a long time, takes time.
Yeah. I know we're kind of just talking a little more about like the inner monologue, but kind of with comparison a little bit. There's a old folklore short just story that I heard a while back, and it was something like there was a cat and a fox, and they were just going along, and the fox was just saying, well, I bet I can have better, like tactics and plans and stuff better than you. And the cat is like, really? Like, you don't have proof? Like, show me. So, and since this is all folklore, back when they were hunting and they had hunting dogs, they heard hunting dogs coming from over a hill. So, of course, both of them, they panic. So immediately, the cat runs up the tree, and the cat says, okay, I'm up a tree. What about you? Fox goes in the bushes, can't tell that works, tries to get up a tree, can't really get up. Hunting dogs are still coming, and basically, the end of the story, the dogs got the fox. So that was just kind of interesting. I read about that, and I was like, wow, I didn't really think about that. That story just kind of stuck with me sometimes. Just how, a lot of people that, we probably met in life or been around, and, with me being the quiet, shy one, and I'm more observant of the whole room, even if I'm just with a group of people, just being like, okay, I see how these people are, and you see more people that are very prideful, like,
Yeah.
I'm capable of doing all sorts of these things, and it's like, okay, gotcha. Not judging, but just observing, just like, okay,
Yeah.
all right, taking some notes mentally, about them. So, yeah, I know you were probably saying a little bit earlier too about some like stories, but what advice would you give to someone who feels like their inner voice is always tearing them down?
Honestly, the first thing that comes to mind is change it. It's not an easy process, but it is simple.
Yeah.
So it's not an easy thing to do or an easy thing to attempt to have success in an area of I want to change my inner dialogue with myself, because most people, the majority of people, hate the way they think about themselves, and then that shows up in their work life, that shows up in their marital life, that shows up in their relationships with people. Because if I hate me, how can I love you? If I don't like myself or hate myself even to the point of that, how can I express genuine care for somebody else if I don't care first about myself? It's almost, and I've said this before to some people, and it gets taken almost the wrong way, but you almost have to be a little bit selfish in taking care of you. Because if you don't take care of you, you are good for nobody else. You have to take care of you first, and then you can take care of other people. That's a daunting task, because if you don't like yourself or even hate yourself in that manner, that's no way to live. There's no glory in hating oneself. There's nothing to be gained there. There's everything to be lost. So everything that you do has a negative effect. Even if you do something, quote, positive, you can't even enjoy the fruits of your labor because you hate yourself. Or if it's that too strong, maybe it's just like, hey, I don't like the way I do this certain action or habit that I have that I don't really like about myself. It's like, hey, well, I have the power to change that. If I believe I can then do that. And a lot of people, they get caught up in, well, I've just done this for so long, and they don't necessarily talk about it. This is what I found out with myself is, and I'm still on the road, I'm still working on things, and it always will be. I don't ever want to get to the point where I've arrived, because then I'm dead.
Yeah.
If I've arrived at a certain place, I'm not growing anymore, so I'm then dying.
Yeah.
So it's always a pursuit of the journey, it's not the destination. Enjoy the journey, though, and that's been a big part of my last few years. When I moved down to Florida, old story about that is like, I didn't want to go to Florida because I really hated my life and hated myself. I moved to Florida to kind of restart life, but it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. I got counseling, I met with really good people, started Bible studies, helped in Bible studies, led some Bible studies at the house that I was at the time, and saw so much fruit from that. But for a big majority of those 5 years of being there, I couldn't enjoy any of it because I was working so hard to just get out of a negative mind frame or mindset. So it took time, it took effort, it took consistent action every day of doing things that I really didn't want to do, but I knew I needed to do. So the big issue that I had with the biggest issue at the beginning was admitting that I really didn't like who I was and I needed to change. The hardest part was actually changing. It's really hard to admit to somebody or yourself even that, like, hey, I really don't like myself and I don't like the way I've been living and I don't really like my life. That's a really hard place to be on a 24/7 basis, because you go to bed with it, you wake up with it, you eat lunch with it, you move around with it, you go to the work and job with it, you go home and you kind of rest and play some video games with, hey, none of this really matters. I'm kind of just miserable. Misery's following me everywhere. And that sucks. That's a horrible way to live. And nor do me and Evan, neither of us necessarily have it all figured out. As you said at the very beginning, it's like, disclaimer, we're not professionals. We're just trying to have conversations that most people will not have. And I'm interested to see where this goes with you for like future videos and whatnot, for who you'll have on, the perspectives and ideas that you'll get from different people. What you'll learn from that will then change how you act and maybe do some things, because you'll learn new things as you learn from different new people. And I don't know, there's beauty in that, of like finding oneself in the thoughts and actions of others. Not that they define what you're doing. Like earlier I talked about how like you can't let someone in comparison be your identity in a way. But like, you gotta decide for you that like, I'm better than this, I deserve to have a better life than this, and then just go with it. It's one thing to decide and like acknowledge, hey, I don't like myself. It's a whole nother thing to actually work towards it and work towards a betterment of oneself. So as far as advice goes, I would say, like I did at the very beginning, change it. It's not worth your 70 to 80, maybe 90 years if you're really lucky on this earth, this little blimp of a life, to go head first into depression every day, to misery, groaning, hatred, hating self, hating others. Because you can either get bitter or better. And a lot of people get really bitter in life as they grow older and even younger. It happens. I've done it really young. I got really young, bitterness that stored up in me for so long that I had to deal with for a long, long time because I was so hateful and like bitter and resentful and prideful, and I had to crucify a lot of that to, just get myself up and moving again on a normal basis. It's like I didn't even think I could have a job for a long time because I was so mentally in torment, not because of somebody else, but because of stuff that I've done that I'm like, I don't like that I did that. I don't like that I've seen that. I don't like that I've experienced this or that. And then you get to that point where it's like, well, what the heck? Nothing's worth it anymore. Life is not worth living or not worth continuing. And that's a really hard place to be for people, but there is a way out of that. And you do have the power to change it. Get help, get people around you that are good people, because you will become a good portion of who your friends are. Who you have around you is going to be a lot like you.
Yeah.
And even if they're different than you, you'll end up being like them.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to have a good circle around you. And I don't mean like a big circle of like 30, 40, 50 people. I mean like good, intimate, close relationships of pure, holy, good people that you need to be around. And it will change your life. Like who you're in proximity to is who you usually become.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
who you're around, you're going to mimic in certain ways. I've had people notice, because they've been around me enough to notice certain mannerisms and things that I do and how I talk with my hands and move around a lot and different things that I do. I'm even doing it right now. I don't become conscious of that, though, until someone says anything about that to me. So, but it makes me wonder, because when I had people comment on like, hey, your certain mannerisms, this, that, or you move around with your hands a lot, it's like, yeah, I talk with my hands, but how is it that you notice that because you've been around me long enough? You know what's funny? Then I start seeing them do it. Because they're, in a way, mimicking me subconsciously, maybe they're not realizing it necessarily, but they're becoming more like what they're around. They're falling, not prey, but like they're just falling around to their environment.
Yeah.
And I think when you fall prey to your environment is when you come into a negative alignment with something that you're not meant to, and then you start mimicking that.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous spot to be, too. It's like you don't want to... It's interesting, I just came to mind. You don't want to be the richest person in the graveyard.
Oh, man.
You can have all the money ever, and we all know this. At the end of your life, you're not going to be like, let me look at my bank statement one more time. I want to see my college gratification certificate. Like, I want to see all the accomplishments and papers that I've written and things that I've done. If you are one of those people that's like, hey, I want to see my bank statement one more time on your deathbed, kudos. More power to you. But majority of people, there's two things here. They don't regret what they've done. They regret what they never got the courage to do when they're on their deathbed. And when they are on their deathbed, they don't care about anything that they've already done. They miss out on the fact that, hey, there were things and chances I didn't take that I should have, and things I didn't do that I would have, but now I'm out of time. And we get to the end of our lives, and it's so tragic because none of what we did matters necessarily, and the portion of we don't care about it in that moment. It's not that it doesn't matter completely, but in that moment, all you want is the people around you that you loved, that you poured into, that you gave time to. And as cheesy as it sounds, this is just another portion and another way of doing that. It's like having conversations with people in different, seasons and areas in their lives where it's like, hey, I want to have a conversation with you, to put on a YouTube channel, to have a series on this, to be like, what is it about mental health that makes it so hard? That makes it where we have to talk about this kind of stuff, because nobody likes to talk about it, especially as men, and especially as young men. we're still young-ish. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
getting old. But yeah, it's just like young men today look up to all these people and all these performers and preachers, and we got like David Goggins out there, who's going to carry the boats,
Influencers,
and
yeah.
influencers, Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with most of them.
Kudos
I don't
to
base
them,
my
yeah.
life and my identity off of them, though. I don't base everything I do off of what they say to do. If there's certain results that I want that I know that they got, success leaves clues, like I said earlier, you can follow what they did and probably get around or exactly the same result that they got, and maybe your own version. But if you're looking for somebody and you're looking up to them, and then all of a sudden they don't have the life that you want, then why are you continuing to follow in their footsteps? You got to carve your own path a little bit, and a lot of people won't take that risk or chance. I never wanted to move to Florida. I knew I didn't want to move to Florida. I still moved to Florida because I knew God told me to. Yeah. I really, really felt that. And I was in a church service one day, came out in the parking lot, was texting all my people. It's like, I'm moving to Florida. I don't really want to. Didn't say that in the text, but like, I knew I did not want to. I stalled for months just waiting because I was like, I don't want to do this. And it's one of the best decisions I ever made, because I made the decision to go because I knew it was going to be a reset and restart on my life. And at that time, this is 2019, that's what I needed. Mm-hmm. The 2019 version of me would have never done this little interview or podcast, whatever we're doing right now. I would have never done this at that time, because I wouldn't have seen myself as capable, worthy, interesting, whatever, and not that I'm necessarily any of those things now, but I know I have a story that I can tell, and because I've been through some fire and through some dirt and through some mud, and got to grow a seed out of that, and now I'm becoming like a small tree in a way, where I'm just planted in good soil, good ground, good people around me, good ideas, good logic, good just good things around me and things in my mind. That's what's mainly changed. Because before, my mind was so negative, now it's so positive that I see things like this and I'm like, this is good fruit. There's good seeds here. There's good land here to put seeds. It's like, I'd rather scatter seeds and put them out, even if they don't all come to fruition. None of the seeds you just continue to hold are ever going to come to anything. If you have seed in your hand and you don't cast it out onto the lot of the ground, the soil, you're never going to see it grow into anything if it just stays in your hand. So why would you not try to throw out and do the best thing you can? Try the best that you can. Become the best thing that you can. But yeah, I'll harp on that again. It's like the biggest advice I would say is change it. You have the power to do it. Most people don't believe they do, so they don't.
I think a lot of people today still, like what you were saying about seeds, people are still watering dead plants.
Yep.
So it's like, you gotta stop watering dead plants.
If you're in that place, it's okay to regrow a new one.
Yes. Yeah.
You can take an old dead plant and you can water it all day long, but if it's dead, it's dead.
Yeah.
It's okay to start over.
Yeah. I think at some point in my life too, where it was just having a lot of self-reflection. And another thing too, even with, like, I've heard on podcasts from many other people, maybe it'll help somebody out there, and something I've done too is just go out in nature and stuff. I've gone to multiple places. I did a couple months ago, went to Mount Scott at Wichita Falls in Lawton, Oklahoma, and I went up the tallest mountain, and I walked up 6 miles, all the way up to the top, and that was the most rewarding thing ever, getting all the way to the top. Besides, it was cloudy that day, so you couldn't really see much because you were literally in the clouds.
Yeah.
But the thing about able to see most of down on literally the ground because you're so high up, you're so elevated. Being able, for me personally, the way I saw it was I got all the way to the top. Yes, I was tired. Yes, I was aching. My feet were hurting. But I get all the way to the top and being able to look down literally 360 all the way around me and being like, I don't need to be stressed out about these things. Why am I like just having that view of being able to look and being like, look at all these people over here. They're going through something. Look at these people over here. They might be going through something. And like, and this is a community. Like, just look at this community down here. Look at that over there. Look at, and then all of a sudden, you're just like, your thoughts just start because you're just like,
Yep.
wow, I'm in such beauty all around me. And then the next day, yes, I was in extreme pain because of all that,
Yeah.
but it felt so rewarding.
Yeah.
And it just cleared so much out of my head. And yes, I knew because the next day I would have to be at work. And I was like, I'm going to have to start this whole week again at work. But I was like, shoot, I would go walk up 6 miles back up that mountain again.
Yeah.
And that was like the most rewarding experience ever. And I wouldn't say not necessarily life changing, but it gave me a good perspective
Yep.
and able to distract myself too, just with, oh, I got this, I gotta worry about financial stuff, gotta do this, gotta do that inner monologue of those, well, you're not gonna be able to do this, you're not gonna be able to do that, the inner monologue going. And then as soon as I get up, like I was just saying, getting up there, I'm just like, why am I so stressed? Why am I, and anyway, but yeah, I would say common saying, go take a hike,
Yeah.
literally just go. So yeah, that's one good, easy way to help with that. I know and understands it might not work for everybody, but that's one good way to kind of
I'd say do it.
cope with that.
Do what works for you.
Yeah, do it
To
works
the
for you.
viewers, it's usually out of your norm.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not in your norm, you're not gonna usually be in the same perspective that you would be in your norm.
Yeah.
Your normal thoughts circle around your normal, what you're viewing and seeing and focusing on. And if you focus on something different, you're usually in a higher spot than you were if it's better. Or negatively, you could be in a lower spot and see even the worst of the worst. But like what you were just saying with climbing the mountain, it's like you climb the mountain. Yes, it was not easy, and yes, you were sore from after it, but you still got to see the view in a different perspective than you would have had you just stayed on the ground.
Yeah.
And there's a lesson in that, because it's like you put forth the effort, you get the view no one else gets. You might get the pain no one else gets too, and you get to enjoy that in a sense of, I know what I did to get here, and I know why I'm feeling the way I feel now because I'm sore.
Yeah.
But I'm doing it in a sense of, I got to see the view that not a lot of people get to see because they won't make the hike, they won't make the trip, they won't do the thing, they won't talk to the person they need to talk to, take the chance on the thing they need to take the chance on. They won't do what they know they need to do deep down because they either don't want to put in the work, they're afraid to put in the work, or they don't even know that the work can be done. Like, it's not even like a thing that they're aware of. Like, I could be on a mountain right now, but they don't know because they're clouded down low.
Yeah.
They don't see the top.
Yeah.
There's some unknowns in that. With clouds at the top of a mountain, you don't know where you're going all the way until you get up there and go. You have to kind of feel your way around for a grasp on things sometimes.
It was
moving through
life. Like I was saying to you earlier, just kind of like finish on that. It was like, that's literally how I think the mind is with a lot of people, because yes, there was a little bit of clouds and it was very sunny up there, very beautiful. But then within a matter of like 2 or 3 minutes, a big gust of just like cloud just came over.
Mm-hmm.
Huge winds came. It was very chaotic up there. Didn't rain or anything, but just
Yeah.
the you barely couldn't see from where the edge, some of the edges of where the mountain was, just thick,
Mm-hmm.
and it was so chaotic up there.
Yep.
And that's a good representation of just how we are
Yeah.
with that, and it just went over. So yeah, that yeah. I think that was about it.
I think so.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything else, but
I feel a part 2 coming on eventually.
yep. This might be, yeah, this might be like a
Part
part
one.
three.
Part 1 was Steve Rogers,
Yeah.
not Steve
Well,
Rogers.
part one was with Neil deGrasse Tyson, so
Yeah.
no. You're like,
Goodness.
what?
So you've been seeing some interesting people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But well, yeah, I appreciate you taking your time to do this. This was really good. I thought I would just take the opportunity. But yeah, thank you so much if you're still here. But yeah, this is going to be a series that I want to do, Mind and Moments. So hopefully you have some more stuff coming your way. Like I always say, just don't water dead plants, like what we were just talking about. Let me know in the comments if you want more of this stuff. Let me know if you liked any of this stuff. Feel free to. Thank you for a lot of the subscribers that I got, and a lot of the views. I'm mainly just doing this series because I just want to at least just get this message out there for at least just one person to hear and can relate to, and just feel like that. I know, cliche, they're not alone, but just something I've been very passionate about lately. And I think that's kind of the goal of my channel lately, just the focus of it. I mean, I still might have a couple of other small projects or something that I want to do, but I think this is something at an early age I was very passionate about and very curious about the mind,
Yeah.
how it works, how other people act,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. So, but yes, thank you so much. Appreciate it. If you want to follow my other channel, Tech Brew, I'll probably put it here or there somewhere. But go check that out if you're interested in trending technology things or topics. Go check that out. But appreciate you being here listening, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.
And now a word from our sponsors. The Smack That Smiles Back Children.